Good day and welcome to the State. The whole country is talking. What are we talking about? We'll join the conversation in a jiffy. The State is brought to you by Christian Service University. Christian Service University is located in Kumasi in the Ashanti region. My name is Gabriel 𝗟𝗜𝗚𝗘 Ankrah. I'll take a quick break and I'll be back to tell you the topic. Stay with me.
The Christian Service University, a fully chartered private university in Ghana, is inviting applications for admission. Undergraduate programs include BSc Nursing and Midwifery, Computer Science, Information Technology, Bachelor of Business Administration, BA Communication Studies, Planning and Social Development, and Theology with Administration. Postgraduate programs include MSc in Accounting and Finance, Monitoring and Evaluation, Corporate Planning and Governance. We have MA MPhil Communication Studies, MA Christian Ministry with Management, Event Management, MPhil English and Mathematics Education. With quality, faculty and state-of-the-art facilities, we blend academic work with entrepreneurial mindset in all our programs. For more information, please call 0246 275375, 0240 154825, or 0244 596603, or visit our website www.csuc.edu.gh. CSU is located at Odenaho Kwadaso on the Kumasi-Obuasi Road, 100 meters off Star Junction. Choose CSU today to secure the future of Africa.
And to make him better known.
Sorry, not sure.
Wake up to a purposeful day.
Get ready for a transformational morning experience.
Sorena Shrine is here to build our spirituality, mental and physical well-being.
Through positive, inspiring actions and stories.
We bring you exciting activities and conversations that develop us as a people and as a nation.
We take a look at the trending issues in Ghana and the rest of the world.
And we also review the impacting stories from our local newspapers.
Every morning, we bring you stories of hope, change, and renewal.
We empower you through the Word of God and provoke you to live the purposeful life destined for you.
Join us, Anita Kwaku
and the Reverend Ajika Vincent Agbamanya, Monday to Friday from 5:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. as we take you on an inspiring journey, live and exclusively on WTV.
You may also join us on Facebook at WTV Ghana and on YouTube at Wesleyan TV Ghana.
Sorry, not Shrine.
Wake up to a purposeful day.
Sorena Shrine is brought to you by
Danwell Insurance, Multi-Credit Savings and Loan,
and the Methodist University Ghana.
Welcome back. Let us quickly do W Briefs. On W Briefs, what we do is to give you an executive summary of the topic that we are considering for the day. Small-scale mining in Ghana dates back 2,000 years, even with evidence that its gold mining in particular traces back to the 7th and 8th centuries. That's what accounts for our colonial name, Gold Coast, the Gold Coast. So mining has been taking place for some time now. In Ghana, if you need to be involved in small-scale mining, which we call 𝗟𝗓𝗪, the corrupted version, or in Tree, is gather and sell. Gather and sell, 𝗟𝗓𝗪. You need to be licensed. You need that regulation. Research has said that an estimated number of people are involved involved in Galamsey, and it is mainly the source of livelihood for the communities and the operators. Close to 1 million participants are engaged in Galamsey. That represents 10% of the workforce of the country. But in recent time, few days or let's say months, the calls have been loud for us to ban Galamsey outright. Some have declared it state of emergency. Others say that it is a threat to our existence as a people. The negative effect of Galamsey has been devastating. This morning, Media Coalition Against Galamsey has joined with other civil service organizations, and they are campaigning, crusading against Galamsey. It destroys our farm, it destroys our water bodies, and our whole ecosystem is threatened. This afternoon on The State, we are going to interrogate the endless fight against Galamsey and then find solutions to address this canker. I'll be right back for my guests to join in the conversation. Stay with me. Welcome back. You are still on The State, and this afternoon we are looking at the endless fight against Galamsey, that menace, that canker, that threat that has gotten the whole nation to be up in surge against it. We are going to interrogate the fight so far. Are we winning? Are we being victorious? And then possibly dig out the solutions to address them. And the show is brought to you by Christian Service University. Christian Service University is an evangelical liberal arts institution established 50 years ago to train men and women with ethical values for transformational leadership in Africa. Admissions for 2024-2025 academic year is in progress for undergraduate and postgraduate programs. CSU offers dynamic academic and industry-driven programs in nursing, midwifery, business administration, communication, and computer science. For more information, please contact our admissions relations officers on 02462 75375, 024 0154 825, 0244 596603, or visit our website on www.csuc.edu.gh. Choose CSU today to secure the future of Africa. CSU, the university of choice. So let's begin the Galamsey conversation. We are joined on the line by the convener or the director for Media Coalition Against Galamsey, Engineer Dr. Ken Ashigbe. Doc, if you could hear me, good afternoon, welcome to the show.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to our viewers as well.
And we're excited to have you on the show.
Well, thank you very much. For you offering us this platform to discuss an issue that is an existential threat, and especially for a religious and a Christian channel, for that matter. We know that is the footstool of the Lord. And so definitely, whatever it is his, he would not want us to destroy.
Not at all.
And he would expect us to rather keep it and keep it well.
Great, not at all. So we are committed to the fight. We are committed to the campaign as a station and as a church. So, Doc, as a preliminary comment, a few hours ago, you organized other groups. What did you seek to do?
Well, so thank you very much. So this one, the Media Coalition, you know, we've been fighting this battle since 2017, and we've taken a position that we wanted to get our waters clean, to stop, eradicate the illegality, reclaim our lands, and hold those who are accountable for it, make sure that they are held to account. But we realized that it's not, be enough for us to only just do it alone. And so it was important to also gather other stakeholders. So the media itself for the past 2 weeks have been at the forefront. So, a lot of pages and spaces on the airwaves have been dedicated to fighting those causes. So at this particular meeting, we had the General Secretary of the Ghana, the Christian Council, the President of the Bishops' Conference, the Catholic Bishops' Conference. We also had a representative of organized labor. So that means the Forum, the Ghana Labor Federation, and the TUC also present. We had civil society organizations present. We had the Office of the Chief Imam also present, and a lot of media people and, common citizens like myself also joining in. And we all dedicated our to a single cause. And we had the President of the Bishops' Conference read the communique that had been issued by the Bishops' Conference to us. The Secretary General of the Christian Council also issued a statement. And then the labor unions as well also issued a statement. But for us, our demands of government are 5. State of emergency over our water bodies and get the military to clear everyone found in the water bodies, because mining on the water bodies are illegal. That all planned and active mining concessions overlapping the river buffers should be abrogated, and all mining activities within
we seem to be losing Ken.
Failure of which the president must implement. Oh, you can't hear me?
We seem to be losing
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's better now.
Okay. So I don't know whether you had a second point or the first point.
Yes, I had the first 2.
Okay, so the third one is that almost all water bodies take their sources from forest reserves. So all entry permits given to mine in protected, globally significant biodiversity areas must be abrogated immediately. And then we are calling on the president the parliament to repeal LI 2462 immediately, that allows the president to give people permission to get a forest. Then the fifth call is to all presidential candidates of the political parties vying for elections. They should declare publicly their support for this action that we are calling on the president to do. And so our commitment is to say that we're giving the president up till the end of September. And then we will join organized labor, who has also issued a statement, or they have a 3-point statement, and that is saying does not take action, then they will embark on a series of demonstrations and a nationwide strike towards the end of September 2024.
A roadmap there, and I think it calls for a concerted effort to make sure that we win this battle once and for all. We will interrogate the points that you enumerated, but before then, another organization that has been championing this fight, we have the president of UTAC on the line, Professor Mamudu Akudugu. Prof, if you can hear me, welcome to the state.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and good afternoon to everyone, including my senior man, Ken.
Great. So, Prof, what are your preliminary comments on the fight as Ken came in because they held a press conference this a few hours ago? So, what are your comments preliminarily?
Yeah, my preliminary comments are that I think it's exciting the way that we are taking this fight, and if organized labor, which is our umbrella body, the TUC, the Federation, and then Forum, have also issued a statement which we have all fallen in place to pursue this fight. And so I just want to say that where we have reached, those who matter, the president and the government generally, must act and act decisively so that we curtail the wanton destructions that we are witnessing on our environment.
Great. Prof, I was tempted to ask that your group, you are supposed to be, is it holding the chalk or the marker? Why will you threaten? What is your interest in joining the fight?
Well, I think our interest is very simple. It's about welfare. And as an association, the welfare of our members is paramount. And when there is shortage of water, for example, the recent shortage of water in Cape Coast, I don't think the University of Cape Coast was excluded. And we were directly affected. When foods are poisoned, there's not going to be a discrimination between a lecturer and then any other person.
Exactly.
So it's something that affects everybody. And on the basis of that, we feel that we are very concerned and it affects us directly. And so we need to join this fight and ensure that the right things are done. Because at the end of the day, if you are to teach, who are you going to teach when the population is in danger?
Is in danger, exactly.
So,
so it means it is right and proper for you to join the fight because lives are involved.
Exactly.
Great. Let me, Dr. Ken, let me come to you quickly. How has the fight been like? I know you've been fighting this for some time now. Some have said that they don't have any hope. It is a hopeless situation, that a time will come that their generation will not meet the victory over this Galamsey war. How bad is the situation?
Very, very bad, gravely bad. If you go to war and you poison the waters of your enemies, it's considered a grave war crime for which you would have to be summoned to the ICC to be prosecuted. So I wonder what would be said of a people who poison their own water. And again, as you asked Prof about why they are involved in the war, their involvement is because they, as academics, as researchers, have done a lot of work that is pointing out the impact of these reckless ecological terrorist attacks on Ghana is having on us. You have the situation where we have children who are being born with grave deformities. There's a lot of miscarriages in these communities. There is a lot of renal failures in these communities. The issues of the inhalation of the mercury vapors and then the heavy metals going into our water bodies have very dire situations for us. You have the situation where the WHO standard for water to be treated is 5 NTUs. And then you're expecting that the water treatment plant would treat it to less than 1 NTU. But you have in the Septemer water headworks currently, the plant that is there, it's done to be able to process up to 500 NTUs. Ghana Water has pushed it to 2,000 NTUs. In the month of August, where there's not that much rain falling, where there's even a drought, you have NTUs that have gone as far as high up 14,000 NTUs. And you have people drinking, this water, using this water to cook. And the impact on us is devastating. You have the very cocoa that had taken care of us several years as a people is at risk. A lot of our forest reserves are being pillaged day in and day out. Recently there was a student from again UST student, final year students, just going home and coming back for his defense. He went into one of these areas trying to save somebody. He fell into a pit. There's a woman a couple who lost 2 of their kids in a pit. So the incidence of the level of the damage is so bad that it's shocking that our leaders do not realize the fact that we are in a crisis. And to make matters worse, we have the NDC and the NPP almost having equal representations in Parliament. But these people went and sat down in Parliament, and introduced a law, an ally, that permits the president to grant people, permit to get into forest reserve, restricted forest reserve. And we're beginning to see people who've been giving that. And most of our water take their sources from this forest reserve. So when you have this happening, then you wonder whether our leaders are, really are leaders of this country.
Great. Ken, I wanted to ask that maybe some might think that there's a thing we are talking about, the danger of galamsey is far from us, especially those in the cities, those in the cosmopolitan areas. How far is it from us?
Well, I am happy that for you, Prof, are you Legon?
No, I'm at UDS.
UDS, okay, so maybe you might be spared a bit. Even Legon, because they might be drinking from the pond, they might not be suffering it. But I'm happy that those of you who drink from the Densu, there are rivers that are feeding into the Densu that are currently at risk. So apart from the fact that when Ghana Water treats its water treatment plant, the research that have been done of the colleagues of Prof, that is indicating that they are not able to remove all the arsenic, the lead, and some of these heavy metals. So you are sitting in Ankrah, you don't even know, and these things, they also leach into the ground. Some of these bottled water, some of these sachet water you're drinking might not be pure. But even let's assume that the water you are drinking, you are importing water from Switzerland. You are rich enough to import water from Switzerland to cook, not only to drink. The food stuff that you are eating, because once these heavy metals get into the ground, they get into the food chain, and some of them get absorbed into the food that we eat. Not to talk about the fish that we eat, that is worse, because it will bioaccumulate in them. And there was the Water Research Institute had gone into one of these communities to do some research on galamsey. So when they were coming, they bought bread from the side of the road, brought it back and tested it. The level of heavy metals in bread at the side of the road, it's not somewhere in the bush where the mining is taking place. And so all of us are at risk. And, especially because our waters also take their sources from these particular areas, we are at risk. Even for Prof as well. What is happening is that because in the north, the galamsey that is happening is deep rock, and they don't have too many of the water bodies where they are doing alluvial. There's a lot of, groundwater that they are using as well. And the tailings, and when they are doing hard rock, they use cyanide. They use cyanide in their to extract the gold. And the toxicity of cyanide is even worse. So every Ghanaian is at risk. And not only Ghanaians are at risk. The waters from Ghana, the Bia River, enters into Cote d'Ivoire. So we're beginning to pollute the waters of the people in Cote d'Ivoire. And in 2017, Professor Frimpong Boateng had gone to Cote d'Ivoire for a different conference. He was accosted with the fact that You people, Ghanaians, your irresponsibility in your country is beginning to pollute our waters. So if you are not careful, what is going to happen is the fact that this might be the source of some cross border war. And now currently, when you look into all our estuaries, in the western part, the central part, you will find out that the Ankrah estuary and all of that, the level of pollution that is now happening into the sea, we are beginning to affect the sea. And you know that our small-scale fisher folk, for example, they don't go into the high seas. So the areas that they have to go in and go and fish. After you have killed all the fish in the inland water bodies, now you are also impacting where they can go and fish. And even if they go and fish, and all this pollution also goes into the river, then the fish they are bringing to you, you are saying that, oh, now you don't want to eat red meat, so you are going to eat fish. Unfortunately, genocide is taking place. You are being poisoned.
Wow, it is a very serious situation, and that calls for everybody to join in this fight. Prof, let me move to you quickly and then ask you. But as Doc was mentioning, I think the researchers have told us that the water people have told us that the Densu is gone, polluted to the maximum. Prato is colored too bad. The only clean water we have is the Volta River. That's what they are telling us. And if you measure that against our demand as a huge population, you realize that it is a serious situation. But Prof, what I want to ask you, you're a researcher. I want to find out from you that, you see, once upon a time we were blaming the Chinese, we were blaming foreign miners for coming, but now our own people it's estimated that about almost 1 million of our people are involved in this galamsey. With the research that some of you conducted or you've chanced upon, small scale mining is it's a source of livelihood for these people. So when we declare war on this, are we not causing economic quandrums, so to speak?
Yeah, when you are looking at these issues, you look at the trade-offs. It's a source of livelihood for some people, but at what expense? In the long term, in the medium to long term, the net effect is negative. And so, for example, you are doing the mining today, and you get the money, you have polluted your water, you drink that water, you get poison, and you have to go to the hospital. And the money that you got may not even be enough to treat you. Right? So you're inhaling all the dangerous chemicals, you're polluting, the food chain and all that. So at the end of the day, you would get the money in the short term, but in the medium to long term, you will need more money to be able to take away the effect of that activity on your life.
Yeah.
So it's before the advent of this, mining at the scale that we're seeing today, how did we survive? There were alternatives, sustainable alternatives we used to survive on. And those alternatives are still viable that we can use if we don't, want this, craze for money at a very short period. People want to make it and die at any time, or whatever get very quick syndrome that we're confronted with. Otherwise, if we were to stop mining today completely, right, we will still be able to survive and even have a better life because we will have fresh water. Our food systems will be, poison-free, and we'll be better. And so the question of some people are dependent on it, and therefore, when we ban it, their livelihoods will be at risk, is neither here nor there. We believe that in the long term, when we ban it, we are better off. Their livelihoods will be better guaranteed than if we continue to do what we are doing.
Great. Okay. So that was a professor, president of the UTAG, giving us his take on it being galamsey being a source of livelihood for our consideration in asking for a ban. Viewers, if you are joining us, you are still on the state. And this afternoon, we are looking at galamsey. the negative effect it is having on us, on our ecological system, or a threat to our existence as a people. And we've had the CEO, or let me say the coordinator for the Media Coalition Against Galamsey, Engineer Dr. Ken Ashigbe, and Professor Adukuku from the UTAG also sharing their thoughts on that. And we hope that you following the conversation closely and you are revising your notes and joining the fight against Galamsey. Prof, so is it not much to do about regulations, about licensing them to do proper small-scale mining, or it is an outright ban that we are looking at?
At this point, we are looking at outright ban because we are in a crisis situation. And when you are in a crisis situation, what you want is to stabilize the situation and then see what alternatives are available for you to exit. And so we cannot be talking about regulations at this time because remember, 2017, we banned and we said we're going to come out with policies and regulations and guidelines that will help us mine sustainably and responsibly. But it has become even worse, right? It's more like the cancer situation. You try to treat it and you don't treat it well, and then it gets haywire. And so where we are, we just need a complete ban, get back to the drawing board, and engage the stakeholders, see how best we can address the situation. Even for some people, if need be, we shouldn't even mine because it's better to have those minerals underground and have our life being safe than to bring them up and destroy our lives.
The Christian Council of Ghana issued a release, and they said we should ban it till we get sustainable options for going forward. But like you said, outright ban. Before all that, people had their sources of livelihood, and then they were engaged in one form of economic activity or the other. Engineer Dr. Ashigbe, let me come to you. Let's look at the politics of it, the politics of Galamsey. At the Ghana Bar Conference, the Attorney General gave some figures, the government's effort at fighting Galamsey. Says that 76 cases have been prosecuted, 140 of these cases are pending, and over 840 something involving 840 people that they are prosecuting. So we should be content that at least there is an effort there by government to fight Galamsey. Let's look at the politics of it. How have we tackled it?
Well, thank you. But if you permit me to comment on the ban.
Please do.
I agree with Prof if he says we should ban. But if we're going to ban small-scale mining, then we should ban all mining. Because let me give you some examples. Akota mining, which was mining in the Tano Nimre Forest Reserve, and also mining close to the Tano, which the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources mentioned as involved in that illegality. It's not a small-scale mining company. Heritage Imperial, who had been given prospecting or exploratory license and were in the Apaprama Forest, and with excavators engaged in mining instead of the exploration and the prospecting that they were supposed to do. It's not a small-scale mining entity. If you go into all the forest reserves now, those who are mining illegally there, they are not small-scale miners. And then so these are people engaged in illegality who can be classified as large-scale miners. Then you look at the flip side, there are a lot of small-scale mining companies that are mining very sustainably and responsibly. So if you want to do any ban on mining, then it has to be ban on both large scale and small scale because they are also involved in the illegality. So that's why for us, our proposal is that government should ban mining on water bodies close to the water buffers because that's an illegality already. So you don't even need to, it's just about enforcing
the law.
Because I don't know whether we'll be able to go the El Salvador way, But when you want to talk about the politics of it. And then I had the AG make all of those things. It will be good to go and find out that the list that the AG has, whether Ankrah, the directors of Ankrah mining, they are involved in that, whether Heritage Imperial, these large-scale miners, whether the people who bring the excavators, the people who are able to pay 8,000 a day and buy fuel, whether you have them in there. What did we hear about 𝗟𝗟𝗡? The AG before him declared a knowledge prosecutor when they had to engage, they had to prosecute her, to the extent that the senior minister herself, came to, senior minister came to defend why 𝗟𝗟𝗡 should be let go. You remember that the MC or former MC or DC for Septemer, who is a politically exposed person, confessed to the illegality. Is he one of those 850 people who are going to be prosecuted? So the challenge we have is the partisan politics nature of it. 2016, before the elections, we had the current president himself in Obuasi denying the fact that when he comes, people have said that when he comes, he's coming to destroy Galamsey, but it's not true. He's not coming to damage it. Then in 2020, we had the NDC as well. Had an NDC candidate who then was saying that they too, when they come back immediately, their Operation Vanguard is still there. They're the ones they win. They would allow them to return. We've had the current, the former president also talking about the fact that when they come, people who have been involved in Galamsey, who have been arrested, he will set them free because we've also had a parliamentary candidate tell us about the fact that if the people come and they come, the security forces come, they should beat them. We're hearing the vice president of the running mate of the current vice president also talking about the fact that they will release excavators to them. So the partisanship is the problem. So you find out that our crisis is exacerbated with every election. And so if we do, that's why currently the call, which we're supporting with the the unions and all of that, is that we as the sovereign need to force the president to act. Because if you leave it to the political elite, you forget that also the Speaker of Parliament said in Parliament that some of the parliamentarians are involved. Some of them, they are being funded. So Galamsey money is funding the political parties. And so because of that, they don't want to touch it. I think for too long, majority of us too have been quiet. Because assuming you want to even believe the 1 million people, that 1 million people they bandy around, some of them are in responsible small scale mining. So even if you take it that there are 500,000 people, how about the people, majority of us who are not involved in small scale mining? Go to the Western region. There is a resort there currently by the airstrike. Because of Galamsey activities, nobody is going there anymore. So those people who are losing their livelihoods, the people themselves whose cocoa farms are being destroyed, by the time you wake up, an excavator comes there and has destroyed it. Go to that community where the chief was telling the Galamseyers to leave there, and he had to mobilize his people to move them out. Who is talking about all of them? You and I. And another thing, do you know that yourself, myself, and Prof, we are paying an extra 1% increment in water bills that was approved by the PRC, specifically for Galamsey, that Ghana Water was giving extra money, 1%, to be able to go and fight Galamsey. So there's a lot more of us than these criminal-minded Galamseyers who are benefiting from that. So because they are rich now, they are powerful. Because they are rich, they are able to buy and influence, those people in authority. But we are more than them, and that is why it is good that now we have all come together and we are going to push this particular fight. I would commend UTAG. They are the catalyst that has caused the rest of organized labor to come together for this particular fight. So we need to hold on to it. And you see, again, when you start looking at politics and looking at leadership, you had a situation where the Tunfo sat in state and said to people that he's sure that about 30% of the people around there were either involved in Galamsey or new people were involved in Galamsey. But he did not end it there. He did not end it at a lamentation. Now the people in the particular community rise up and complain and petition him. He then brings three of his chiefs, takes them to our traditional judicial system. He sits in state as the chairperson of the Asante They find them guilty, and they don't just say, go and bury your wife who is dead. But they actually punish them and they disown them. But when we get the president, who then, is confronted with the challenge of 𝗟𝗓𝗡, and I met with him in Koforidua at the Catholic Priest Conference, and I asked him about what was happening about 𝗟𝗓𝗡. He said to me, in response to the hearing of everybody, that 𝗟𝗓𝗡 was not involved in Galamsey as we spoke. But the question I asked him was not at the time we were speaking. The fact that 𝗟𝗓𝗡 has been involved and his Minister of Lands and Natural Resources has fingered him. So our political leaders, the political elites, and the middle class and the rich people are all involved. And that is the problem.
That's the
so
problem.
Every election brings us to the brink of extinction.
Yeah, great. I will take a quick break, but Prof, before I do that, I want to go with you. So our leaders are not really into it. Politics is what is worrying us. So this afternoon we are looking at Galamsey. We are looking at the devastating effect on us as a people. When I go and return, we'll dig into the solutions. Don't go anywhere. Stay. I'll be right back.
The Christian Service University, a fully chartered private university in Ghana, is inviting applications for admission. Undergraduate programs include BSc Nursing and Midwifery, Computer Science, Information Technology, Bachelor of Business Administration, BA Communication Studies, Planning and Social Development, and Theology with Administration. Postgraduate programs include MSc in Accounting and Finance, Monitoring and Evaluation, Corporate Planning and Governance. We have MA MPhil Communication Studies, MA Christian Ministry with Management, Event Management, MPhil English and Mathematics Education. With quality, faculty and state-of-the-art facilities, we blend academic work with entrepreneurial mindset in all our programs. For more information, please call 0246 275375, 0240 154825, or 0244 596603, or visit our website www.csuc.edu.gh. CSU is located at Odeneho Kwadaso on the Kumasi Obuasi Road, 100 meters off Star Junction. Choose CSU today to secure the future of Africa.
And to make him better known.
Praise God, praise God. Christ in T, you respond, yeah, addition. I'm excited to announce to you, friends in the Lord, are you seeking for a platform where you can pray? Open baby up a soul bomb pie. Now ninyami edi in kitahon. Bibi so. And I'm na the same kum. And you're coming home. Let's go into the prayer room on WTV every Friday 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. to meet seasoned ministers of God that God has raised to impact your life. Remember, John Wesley said, I have too much to do, therefore I spend several hours in prayer in able to do it. That is why we are calling upon you. Meet myself, Reverend Hosea Say, and the Evangelism Mission Renewal Directorate as we lead you into the prayer room where we encounter Christ. And I believe your life will never be the same. Call your friends or loved ones every Friday 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. where we will encounter Christ. God bless you. See you on our screens on WTV every Friday 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. God bless you.
That each and every
Welcome back. We still on the state, and this afternoon we are interrogating the fight against 𝗟𝗟𝗡, and then we are probing into the solutions. We'll dig the solutions to addressing this particular canker. And the conversation has been livened, and we've had Dr. Engineer, he's an engineer first, Engineer Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe, who leads the coalition or media against 𝗟𝗟𝗡, the media coalition against 𝗟𝗟𝗡, and also the president of the University Teachers Association of Ghana, Professor Mamudu Akudugu, joining the conversation and giving us the facts and figures, the reality on the ground, and the need why we all have to join the fight against 𝗟𝗟𝗡. And I'm sure by the end of the discussion, you will realize that we are in for victory. We can't win. We can't win this battle if we commit to. Gentlemen, welcome back from the break. Prof, before I went on the break, I wanted to take your view. Ken listed so many instances that showed that politically we are not committed to winning the war. Our leaders are not helping. What do we do?
Well, what we should do is what we are doing. We demand that they should act and act right, we give them the power, and we can determine how that power is used. And it's good that we are beginning to come together to ensure that the power is used and used in the interest of the general population. In fact, I couldn't agree more with Engineer Dr. Ken for all that he has said. As they always say, leadership or every other thing, leadership is a cause, every other thing is an effect. We just need our leaders to show leadership. And he talked about the politics, the way that the two main political parties are playing gala with our lives when it comes to this issue of 𝗟𝗟𝗡 and the destruction on our environment. Look at what in Parliament. The members of Parliament are ready and open to debate on who polluted the water bodies the most. And they are ready for that debate.
Yeah.
As to whether it's the NDC that polluted the most or the MPP. You see, that is what they are interested and they are ready to do, but not about how to even stop the pollution. We can't continue this way. Right? We can continue this way. And then we believe that is why we believe that it's very important for the ban that we talked about. And I agree with Dr. Ken about the fact that when we are saying that it's a ban, remember we have said that in the forest reserves, all forms of mining and prospecting should cease. In the water bodies, all forms of mining and prospecting should cease. Whether it's small scale, large scale, legal, illegal, should cease. Right? So that is our demand. And so it is in our interest, and we believe that it's in the interest of leadership, the politicians, to work with us to put a stop to this canker.
Yes.
It is best.
Once and for all. I think I share in that call too. So Doc, let me switch quickly and then ask you. In your 5 pointers you addressed, or let me say what you are looking forward in implementing at the meeting you had a few hours ago. I remember you mentioned the state of emergency and then a bit about demonstration. How do you want to use that as a vehicle?
Okay, so if you read the 3 points demand from organized labor, they also talk about an immediate declaration of the state of emergency in line with the provisions of the Constitution. Then they also talk about the revocation of LI 2462. Then they also ask for a very important thing: establish a special court to prosecute the perpetrators of this horrible crime. And then they go and make this one. They say organized labor would urgently embark on a series of demonstrations and the nationwide strike if government fails to address the concerns raised by the end of September 2024. And this one is coming from what UTAG had said. So now all of organized labor the media, various organizations, the demonstrations would come on. One Ghana movement, for example, was at the press conference, and they talked about organizing 1 million boots on the ground to compel the president to do the needful. So we are taking a cue from what the president said on the 7th of January 2017?
17 was 2017.
When he called on us to be citizens.
And not spectators.
2017, to be citizens and not spectators.
Yeah.
So we are going to be citizens and not spectators. If organized labor could get government to act when all it was are pensions that was at risk, that at least that one, if you do means, you are able to do something small and the pension is not coming, at least you live. But now we are talking about our very existence. The fact that Ghana itself, and we forget that there was a Ghana before this one. There is a Ghana that has gone extinct before. And it's things like this that could make us become extinct. So this one, our very existence is at risk. And our call on the president is the fact that he has only 4 months to go as president. His legacy is at stake. He has to be remembered as being on the path of the majority of the people. He needs to act in such a way that if we are able to get ecocide to become one of the cases that would be accepted at the international court, then we will not also be, sending him there to be prosecuted as one for ecocide, because he sat and then allowed this to happen. This is a genocide that is being perpetrated against the people of Ghana. And we need everybody who supports us to come and be on our side. You just have to sit and listen to Dr. Fayo say, read a statement from the Christian Council, and hear Bishop Matthew, read the statement from the Catholic Bishops' Conference. The venom, the pain, the anger that was in their voices. So it's important that our political leaders know that this particular time, we are not joking. And it's not only the president who has to declare the state of emergency. Our focus is also on all the presidential candidates, on the former president John Mahama, on Vice President Baumia, on Mr. Bediako, on Mr. Alan Shemati. All of those who have picked they need to declare publicly their support for the 3 points that the organized labor has asked for, the 5 points that we have asked for, and the various points that various people have asked for. They need to be on the side of Ghanaians, otherwise they are part of the enemies.
And they either be on our side to win this war or part of enemies. Prof, your final comments?
Yeah, my final comments is that I think just speaking from what Engineer Dr. Asibe has said, that beyond the president declaring the state of emergency or doing what we are asking, we need the commitment of the flag bearers to this cause. And even when we are doing demonstration, we hope that we don't get there. But if we happen to get there, we expect them to join us on the field. And we want to also say that, fortunately, there is that critical mass at the moment that makes the work of the president very easy, because you have the majority of the population demanding this. And as a Democrat and somebody who has fought for rule of law all his life, he shouldn't disappoint. And with 4 months to go, at least, he should let Ghanaians remember him for being resolute and for being on the side of the majority this time. And we mean business, and we are not going to relent until the right things are done. And we call on Ghana and the Ghanaian people to join this fight, because at the end of the day, everybody is going to be affected if we continue the way that we are going. Nobody is safe. It doesn't matter where you stay. Even if you are in the US, you send back, you send money to your family to buy the fish and all the rest of the things and send it to you. You are not safe because the fish is poisoned. So let us all put our hands on deck to ensure that this fight is won once and for all.
Once and for all. Thank you very much, Prof. Dr. 𝗟𝗑𝗩𝗘, your final comments.
Well, my final comment is that my prayer is that His Excellency, the President, who declared that he was willing to put his presidency on the line to do what was needful, but not just to get by. We pray that call of the whole Ghana, you would have heard what the cries of those souls who are weeping, who have perished in this Galamsey fight. He would hear the souls of those who are deformed. He would hear the souls of the weeping majority who have lost their livelihood. And he, to this call that we are ready to work with him, to support him, to ensure that the criminals are brought to book. We are ready to work with him to ensure that once we introduce this crisis response, then we can then get to a point where we then put in place sustainable means, if even we are going to mine. We are not calling for the El Salvador way, but at least there should be some measure of knowing that a good balance between our exhaustive minerals and then the other resources that we have as a country. And he should act immediately, because we don't have time at all.
We don't have time. Yeah, before I let you go, lastly, Lou, and then you go. This is a Christian station, and a Christian council is part of those championing the fight against Galamsey. What would you speak to every Christian, every Muslim, every faith-based person in joining that crusade? What will you say to them?
So again, if anybody, whether you're an adherent of our traditional religions, you are a member, a Christian, you are a Muslim, you belong to any faith, that you believe in God. If you believe in God and you know that this earth was created by Him, and that the earth is His footstool, then you know that once you are destroying that, God Himself, that is the works of God that you are destroying. Then also the fact that this thing that you are doing, children who are defenseless, who cannot fight, they are the ones you are attacking. What God does in those situations is that He intervenes Himself. So my prayer to every Christian, every faith-based person who are involved in this sin, who are part of those committing these criminal offenses, I pray that you have as the Greeks would say, you have a change of heart. You would repent from your sins and turn away from your sins. And I pray also that all of us who are Christians, we have to act, because we have been made in the image and likeness of God. So God will not do for us the things that we have to do. But there are some things that we can do. Great. If we all would pray and call unto Jehovah God and ask Him to intervene, where our strength ends in our fight, He would intervene in there and make sure that we win this at the shortest possible course and turn our situations around.
We win this battle at the shortest possible time. Thank you very much, Engineer Dr. 𝗟𝗩𝗘𝗓 and Professor Mamudu Akudugu of the University Teachers Association for joining us on this conversation. We must win the fight against Galamsey. Galamsey threatens our very existence. Galamsey threatens our future. Let the conversation continue. All hands on deck. Galamsey must stop, and must stop now. We are back on Friday. Goodbye.